Well, welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, where our vision is opening hearts and minds to the healing power of love. And you know, I am so blessed because my heart, I think, has been opened probably the most just by stepping up. And I am so grateful to be here today. And this whole summer has been a process of homecoming for me. In June, we started with the theme of thriving, and then last month it was freedom, and then this month, vibrancy. And what I really realized, if we want to thrive and really come alive and have this sense of, it's great to be alive, let's say that. It's great to be alive. Dr. Raymond Charles Barker, in his book Power of Decision, says that that's a spiritual necessity, to have that feeling that it's great to be alive. And so, to really come home to that, though, we have to make a choice. And like our affirmation said, the first line was, I choose to open up to my divine, vibrant self. Let's say that. I choose to open up to my divine, vibrant self. If we don't make that choice to really come alive, to thrive and vibrate with aliveness, then the universe kind of just takes it as, one day after another. So it begins with taking that choice, making that choice, and then the second thing is this whole idea of surrendering to grace. And grace is that free givingness of God that's just ready to support us in any way, as long as we get out of our own way. I don't know about you, but I've been in my own way. Anyone out there that's been in their own way? Yes. So we surrender to grace, and this month it's to take a vacation from everything that's been limiting us. How many of you have kind of taken a vacation that's had a different idea about things? I know with Reverend Sue speaking about, are you a firefly, or are you letting fireworks happen in your life? And really this whole idea of letting your great light shine wherever you are. How many of you are a little uncomfortable in the elevator to say anything to anyone? Anyone here? I know that for me, sometimes, but I usually always get past the uncomfortableness. And so Friday I was in an elevator in the Pan Am building, and I said to this nice dressed man, I said, well, I wish you a really happy weekend. He said, oh no, it's going to be terrible. I got to take a flight back to New Hampshire, and one flight's already missed. And so then I came up with my little quote. I don't know how I quite said it, but I said, well, this is what I like to look at. Life is like a camera. What you focus on develops. And so maybe, and I said, I'm a positive minister. What's your day? He said, Bill. I said, I know your trip's better than you thought it would be. And he said, oh, I'm really glad I talked to you. And by the time we got out of the elevator, it was like I brightened his day a little bit by sharing my light. And sometimes you're a little uncomfortable, right? But usually it always works out. So anyway, it's that choice to share our light wherever we go, whatever we're doing. And as I thought about this idea of sailing and soaring, because the more that I made that choice to open up to my divine, vibrant self, I began to see some of the things that had been limiting me. And once you can really see them for what they are, they can't seem to run you anymore. So it's kind of good if something gets disturbed and there's a hurricane of sort and you're like, something's coming up that wants to be, I call it now, freedom bubbling up. Freedom bubbling up. So rather than thinking, oh my God, what's happening and all of that, know that that great, wonderful, vibrant, alive self wants to express more fully. And so as I saw this one thing, I realized that a lot of times before you can sail and soar, sometimes you have to crash and burn. Because that gets your attention enough that you kind of like, okay, something needs to change here. What's going on? And when I was thinking of that, I've gotten about 6 of these chicken soup for the soul that people have given me for gifts. And one of the ones I remember this story of W. Mitchell, and it's called Yes You Can. Just going to read a couple of things here. What if at the age 46 you were burned beyond recognition in a terrible motorcycle accident, and then 4 years later were paralyzed from the waist down in an airplane crash? Then can you imagine yourself becoming a millionaire, a respected public speaker, a happy newlywed, and a successful business person? Can you see yourself going white water rafting, skydiving, running for political office? Even when he ran for political office, his slogan was, because his face was kind of a patchwork quilt of all these scars and everything, and his slogan was, not just another pretty face. But anyway, he was a former Marine, and he just said, yeah, I could complain about all the things I've lost. The way I look at it, there were 10,000 things I could do before. Now, there's 9,000 things I can still do, so I don't focus about those 1,000 things that I can't do. And I mean, what an inspiring story. So it's not really so much what happens to us, is that how we respond to it and go from there. And then there was a wonderful woman that, to me, is just so inspiring that I saw on Oprah, Monica. How many of you remember that story? She went into the hospital to have her baby and somehow got a flesh-eating virus, and they had to amputate her arms and her legs. Yes, isn't that inspiring? And sometimes you think, my God, the things in my life, and in fact, W. Mitchell said, the reason I've chosen to go out is that maybe I can say to you, if I've not chosen to use them as an excuse to quit, then maybe some of the experiences you're having, which are pulling you back, can give you a new perspective. You can step back, take a wider view, and have a chance to say, maybe that isn't such a big deal after all. And what Monica said, I just knew I wanted to get home to take care of my daughter and the new baby, and I think that her fiance even married her in the hospital. But sometimes I look at those people and I say, wow, they have some kind of indomitable spirit, and I want more of that, And so anyway, that it's that making that choice, and then to really know that whatever's happening, that we can take it and turn it around and have it empower us, that because our divine self isn't limited by it. Our divine self is greater than anything that we face. So to sail and soar, and this is a new thing for me because I am, oh, you already put it up there. Okay. First of all, we've got to believe it's possible. And I realize that sometimes I have not lived in that place of it being possible, because sometimes when we're in the figuring out stage, which is really a very low amplitude, because we only got our little human mind and our little past experiences, whereas if we surrender to grace and allow, it's like we open up to possibilities. In fact, one of the things that in Alice in Wonderland, the story by Lewis Carroll, the Queen says, every morning before breakfast, think of 6 impossible things. And just to get in that idea, because once we live in the area of possibilities, just thinking of what's possible allows us to sail above where we were, to rise a little bit higher. And then the next thing is being unimpressed with problems. Being unimpressed with problems, because sometimes we've let problems really impress us. In this Prosperity Plus class, Mary Morrissey was talking about her big church. At one point they had a $5 million budget and they had $1.6 million shortfall. And she said, I was impressed with that. And then somebody got to meet with her and started saying, reduce that to the ridiculous. What is that to God? And I looked at, oh my God, we don't have $1.6 million shortfall. I've been thinking that a certain amount was a big deal. And to really be unimpressed. And just look in your life where you've been impressed with certain things. And sometimes we get caught into certain things that the race believes, you know, that if you don't have this much money, or if you don't have this education, or if you're a certain age, or whatever, that means you're limited. No, you really have to be unimpressed. So just look at if there's anything in your life, just think of it for a moment right now that you've been impressed with. Okay, and let's make an affirmation that says, I am unimpressed with this seeming impossibility. I am unimpressed with this seeming impossibility. That's the beginning of the answer. That's the beginning. And then to master our minds. Wow. That's the big thing, because as long as we've got our mind on the side, and one of the books that we're studying in the Prosperity class is The Science of Getting Rich. But it works for everything, and it really, to have that conviction is that I am success, I am successful. And to really look that if other people have done it, if W. Mitchell and Monica have overcome whatever they overcame, wow, we're invincible, right? Because we have our sight, we have our health, and even if our health isn't as great, what I'm knowing that when we master our mind and really start telling the truth, then we can really rise out of that. And I'm going to share a couple of things with you about doing that later. But praise the good in your life. Boy, once you start praising the good, guess what? You got more. You got more all the time. And even if you feel a little bit lacking in energy or money, whenever you say, I bless and praise what energy I do have, and I leave the increase to spirit. Let's say that. I bless and praise what energy I do have, and I leave the increase to spirit. I bless and praise what money I do have, and leave the increase to spirit. I bless and praise what money I do have, and leave the increase to spirit. And particularly try this if you could wake up one morning and you don't feel particularly alive. Just know that the more you let the Spirit have free reign, that unlimited energy and power and supply and abundance is then able. It's free. And then that whole idea of praising the good. Praise whatever you have and leave the increase to God. And you know me, I love acronyms. So what do we have here? Pump up your spiritual muscles. Possibilities, unimpressed, master your mind, and praise the good. Praise the presence of good. So do you think you can remember that?